Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And when I did my video dealing with the smaller Cobras, the ones under 250 millimeters, which was primarily these two here at 180 and 150, you probably knew it was inevitable that I would be doing a video on the larger Cobras. And the larger Cobras, obviously I've done the video on this 560, but there are two others. There is a 300 and a 400, and I thought I'd address those two today. The 300 and 400 are Cobra, traditional Cobra designs that just expand by 10 centimeters each, the handles, or by 50 millimeters, 5 centimeters here, and then another 10 here, and then it jumps up from 400 to 560, or a giant whopping 1600, or excuse me, 160 centimeters. Now, this particular one, the 300, is larger than the 250, but basically kind of in the same scale. It is not a gigantic difference. However, I really like the 300. And when I did that video, some people mentioned they like the 300 over the 250. 250, I was saying, is often too big. Well, if you want something bigger, because this isn't quite big enough, or you are using it at, up around its maximum, that's when the 300 comes in. It's not ridiculous. Those might be ridiculous, unless you have a need. But this is basically just an upgrade. And I really like the 300. It's a good size, fits well in my hand, gives you plenty of power across the top end. And it's not that much heavier. It's not even that much bigger. But those are like, dog millimeters. They really make a big difference when you're actually using it. But here's where the jump occurs. If I make that 10 centimeter leap up to this 400, this is overall a completely different animal. It is a massive head, both in thickness, you can see that, in the opening, in the size of grab that this thing can take over. If you look at that, I mean, overall it is a giant difference. It's also heavier. I think this one's close. This pushing 3 pounds, maybe over. I mean, it's a noticeable weight for a big tool. Now, why does Knipex do such a thing? Well, their idea is that if you need a wrench or a plier this size, you're looking at a big tool anyway, and this is actually lighter, say, than a large pipe wrench that may have the equivalent in jaws. So if you grab your big heavy pipe wrench, I've got some aluminum ones, like this is very close to my 24-inch rigid. In fact, I guess I can grab it. Hang on, I've got it hanging on the wall over here. Throw some tools down to get out of the way and grab my big old rigid pipe wrench here. So here it is. If I crack this guy open, takes a while, move that kind of distance. So I'm approaching the end of the threads. I'll go ahead and take it to the very last thread there, right there. And that is fairly close to what we see on this larger 400 millimeter wrench. So this is a 24-inch pipe wrench with the same jaw capacity as this 400 millimeter Knipex Cobra. So this is actually lighter, even though this is aluminum. This is a heavy wrench. If this was the full steel, and I used to have a rigid that was steel, I mean, it was almost, it was a two-hand wrench, whereas this easily move around with one hand. Once it's on, if the lever arm, I'm losing maybe, what is that? Probably 6 inches, maybe 7, of kind of lever grip, but that's probably more than made up in dexterity. Now, if I want to really beat on something, a wrench, really push on it, pull on it, stand on it, maybe I don't get rid of my pipe wrench, but this, for most things, will do what this pipe wrench will do, especially if you're working on softer fittings. You've got, with that dexterity, really makes a big difference. So, then what do you do with the 560? Well, that is a giant pipe wrench, bigger than anything I have or need. I guess need's always a weird word for tool channel, but, you know, did I need those? Yeah, actually I did. But anyway, these guys, they're going to do what an even bigger pipe wrench would. That's what Knipex is looking at when they're making these gigantic pliers in the Cobra fashion here. Now, do you need such a thing? I don't know. The more I play around with them and use them, you know, looking for different applications, the more I realize maybe there are some large, high-quality tools that are just missing from our toolbox because of the expense, or because we don't see them on the shelves of the stores, or maybe just simply we didn't realize that there was a better offering. So next time, you know, if you're thinking I need a pair of 250s, which is the common one, consider the 300s. It's going to give you even more with essentially none of the real drawbacks. If you jump up to the 400, this is a little bit different. That's a whole different animal. And then if you want to go down to smaller ones, you know, there are plenty of choices. Now, I was digging around and I found some of my old Knipex that I've had forever, and they just keep on going. Keep on going. Just silky smooth. You know, you can see they've updated the number of positions. This one, the button's fallen off. That's okay. You know, the handle's coming apart. Just outstanding pliers. So I have no hesitation recommending that you expand your Knipex plier line beyond the 250 and 180, which seemed to be the other super popular one. Look at that. So I upgrade my tools a lot. That's why I have this channel. But I also go after things I didn't know what I needed, and then I find a use. This is a winner, this 400. This is a specialty one still for me. But the 400, just a joy to use when you find something. The 300, this belongs in a toolkit or toolbox or your tool bag. It is plenty good for about everything that the 250 does, plus some. So maybe, you know, now that I think about it, these two, get the 300 and the 180. That might be the best set yet. And with that, Doc out.